Okay, world. Today I'm going to show you how to do a couple tricks on the Rubik's 3x3 and on the 4x4. One of these tricks is going to be, like, one of the most famous is the cube within the cube. So, what it does, it makes this turn clockwise, counterclockwise, and it makes this turn clockwise. So all you have to do to get the cube to make this turn counterclockwise, you do an F, L, F, U, I, R, U, F2, L2, U, I, L, I, B, D, I, B, I, L2, and U. And see, and now you have the cube within the cube on both sides. And now, to get this piece to turn, you have to do this algorithm. First of all, you do B2, then you do an R, I, a D, an R, a D, I, an R, I, a D, an R, and then you do a U, and then you do an R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, U, I, and then you do 2B. And then you have the cube within the cube within the cube. And one way that I remember that last algorithm the easiest is you just do each thing twice. So you go R, I, D, R, I, sorry, R, I, D, R, D, I, R, I, D, R, and then you do a U, and then you just do R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, and then you do a U, I, and then you do the 2B. So it's basically, you just do the same thing over twice. And see, and then you have the cube within the cube. And you basically do the same thing with the 4x4, except you do the first algorithm for the 3x3. So you do an F, an L, an F, a U, I, an R, a U, F2, L2, a U, I, an L, I, a B, a D, I, a B, I, an L2, and then a U. And see, and then you have a 3x3 within a 4x4. And then to do, to get this to turn, to make a 2x2, you just pretend like it's a giant 2x2. So first, so you grab the outsides on every side. So you do B2, then you do the same algorithm you did for the 3x3. You do an R, a D, an R, an RI, a D, an R, a DI, an RI, a D, an R, U, RI, DI, R, D, RI, RI, DI, R, a U, and then a 2B. And see, and if then you did it right, you should have a 2x2 within a 3x3 within a 4x4. And then to get the 1x1 cube here, you do the same thing that you just did, except you just grip the outsides instead of both. So you do a 2B, an R, I, a D, an R, a D, I, an R, I, a D, an R, U, R, I, D, I, R, D, R, I, D, I, R, U, I, and then the 2B again. And then you should have a 1x1 within a 2x2 within a 3x3 within a 4x4. And see? And if you have a 2x2, you do the same thing that you just did with this one when you pretended that it was a giant 2x2. Okay. And you can do this with any Rubik's Cube, it just depends on what order you're in. So you can do it with a 2x2, a 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7. The only thing you can't do it with is a 1x1, which is pretty obvious. Okay, come back to my channel for more tips. Thanks. Bye.